in Des Moines, it was the loudest environment I've ever been in. It was like being back in the Coliseum, and I was the favourite to die. It started my debut, when in my next fight, the David Onama fight, and then in Ludwig Klein was just one big fall off. And to be fair, it was a tribulation for me, but it's done me wonders. For me, literally, this is going to be a 3-minute fight. The first 3 minutes are going to decide which way this fight goes, and we're going to see which one of us starts going backwards, because it's not going to be me.
So what, in terms of your fight week ritual, some people are watching movies the night before a fight. Are you just tucking into a good book? Is that how it works?
So I'll read the night before, so obviously weigh-in day. As soon as I get back where I can actually function like a human being, I'll read, we'll go for food, we'll chill out. The only ritual we have the night before fight is that there's no talking of the fight. We won't talk about it at all. I'd like to chill out and just have relax, so we won't talk anything to do with combat sports, which, considering I always have 3 coaches as well as friends and all who are all involved in the sport, it's quite a hard topic not to talk about. But it's nice just to get out, just relax and talk about everything else. But that's the forbidden topic. We never talk about fighting. And then day of the fight, I won't read, I won't watch TV, I won't do anything apart from sit there and relax. I won't look at my phone, I won't go on social media. We may go for a bit of a walk, but I won't look at anything apart from just relax and visualize and wait, and just wait and wait and wait until I get in there to have a bit of fun.
Love it. I find it fascinating how everyone has their own lead up to the fight. Such a unique experience for humans to be involved in battle, and how one gets their mind and body ready. It really does interest me. But I like the fact that there's no talk of the fight. That's really interesting.
Well, the main thing is my coach always says I'm like a hunting dog, so they don't want to get me excited too early. But the main thing is like fight day, especially when we get to the warm up area, everything is all about. It'll be all about Oki. Everything will be about Balaji Oki, and that'll be my world on fight day. But leading into it, the main thing is trying to make sure I sleep, I'm eating, I'm well rested, I'm recovered, and obviously getting excited and getting a little bit pumped up isn't the right answer to it. So if we don't talk about the fights, we talk about everything else, it's more likely that I'll be able to sleep properly without just be wound a pound all night. So yeah, it's exciting. I love this part now. Like this is the long wait. Do you know what I mean? My weight's good. I weighed this morning, and my nutritionist was a little bit stressed because my weight was moving the way I wanted it to go. And I weighed this morning, and it all moved. So I'm weird. I've always had a weird body type. That's why I always look fat by the time I fight. I just trap so much water, but everything's where it needs to be. I feel super relaxed. I feel super fit. Everything is correct. I don't have an injury moving into this, even a niggle. So touch wood, the weight cut goes well, and we're ready to go.
Obviously, I want to talk about Paris this weekend, but even before we jumped online, I was like, where do I start with Mason? Where should we kick off? Now, we kicked off a little bit with fiction books, but I think it's worth, if you don't mind, us retreading that time when you left the UFC and the whole decision-making process around that. I've been a big fan of yours for a while. I've seen you in the gym, seen you do the work. I still say to the day that Mike Davis fight was one of my favorite fights to be live for. You guys at your respective ends of your career that was a fight that could have been a main event, down the line, if you will. But something happened, and I think it's worth us going over that for fans that don't understand what happened between your departure from the UFC and coming back now.
The fall off. Because that's what it was for me. It was it started my debut, when in my next fight, the David Onama fight, and then in Ludwig Klein was just one big fall off. And to be fair, it was a tribulation for me, but it's done me wonders. It's done me so much. Like making the decision that I would step back from the UFC for a bit and rebuild. And I, even though I was ready to be there, I just needed to work on some things. I needed to tighten everything up. because after my contract with after Ludwig Klein, after my contract when expired, after I finished my contract, the offer was sort of there, but it wasn't sort of there. And then the Ultimate Fighter was offered as well, and there was like so many different leads. And we literally just said, look, let's just take a minute, let's just rebuild, and let's just do it properly. You don't want to be that guy who goes from having a tough fight against Mike Davis, which I messed up, and coming off with a loss that could have gone either way, but was a loss. Then there was the Alan Patrick eye poke, which I messed up. Then there was the David Onama fight, which I went in there and I was a mess going into that fight. There was so much wrong, but I got the win. It was a terrible win, but I got the win. But there's three terrible fights. Not because they were terrible, because the performance was bad. Because the Mike Davis fight was okay. I made mistakes and I messed up my prep and I was tired going into it. And all these other excuses, and they are excuses because everyone always has an excuse going into a fight. But I lost. Then the David Onama, the Alan Patrick fight, I felt so good. The weight cut went horrific. It was the worst weight cut of my life. I messed up and I recovered so well. And it's probably still to this day, probably one of the best feelings pre-fight I've ever had. And everything was right. And I was so nervous because I wanted to get it right that I went completely wrong. Because it wasn't the eye poke that ended the fight. It was the eye poke and then stopping, looking at the referee and going, oh my God, I just poked him in the eye. And the referee looking at me like, okay, stop. And then Alan just wanted a way out because I battered him. And the finish was coming. Like, it was a 10-8 first round on the scorecards. The second was even more of a 10-8. And, like, it was going to be an emphatic finish. Like, I could have probably finished him the first, but we had talked about taking our time, making sure that you tick the box the correct way. And then I poked him in the eye, and it snowballed from there.
Can I tap into the psychology though, Mason? Because this is me projecting.
Yes, sir.
But when you get the UFC contract, I know what a huge deal it is. Like, I've spoken to enough of you guys, even for me being associated with the UFC, there's so much that hangs off of those three letters. Financially, for most of you guys, you're 10xing your money as well. It is the start of your next chapter of your career where you can truly become that full-time professional athlete. And it sounds like you had the opportunity to continue with the UFC, but you decided to take a step back. And that fascinates me because it just shows the strength of mind that you clearly have. But just peel back the curtain, would you? It's such a big thing that a lot of fighters don't even get to experience it. And you kind of said, I've had a taste. It's not quite where I want to be. I'm going to say no, and I'm going to come back. I'm just struggling to figure out how a lot of people would have been able to do that.
A lot of people don't get it. The main thing was for me, it was just like everything had gone wrong. I had 4 opportunities to show where I was and who I was. And it was just, and I was getting better all the time, but I just couldn't quite find the rhythm the right way. So when we spoke about it, there was like interest to go back, and we were sort of negotiating. And I remember I spoke to Graham, and I was just like, look, they're offering this, they're offering that. He was like, they've offered the Ultimate Fighter, they've offered this. I literally just said, look, I just need a bit of time. So we just took that step back. I had a lot of like personal stuff going on at the same time where it was just more so the people I'd had close to me sort of turned around and sort of started seeing me as a failure. And it was a tribulation for me. It was like a mental tribulation. It was a physical tribulation. And it was something that it's probably shaped me so much more. I know it's easy to say you're mature because at 25, I thought I was a mature adult. By the time I was 28, 29, like it just how much different I am now, how much stronger I am, like how much emotionally stronger I am, how much more emotional intelligent I am, how much my fight IQ's gone through the roof, and just that I'm starting to get to the point where I'm starting to click, and I still think I've got such a massive climb before I hit my apex, and I'm just going to get better. And it all starts with Ockie, because obviously I went into the Jeremy Stevens fight, and I had the sit down interview with Bisping, with Paul, with all the guys, and I remember they were like, "How do you feel going into this fight?" And I was like, "Fine." I was like, there's literally the main thing I have to keep reminding myself is that Jeremy can beat me. Jeremy can knock me out. Jeremy has that power to knock me out. And they were just looking at me and they were so confused. And I was like, I am so arrogant in there. Like I love being in there and I love being in control. And for me, I needed to focus on what he was good at and what he was thinking, and just to remind yourself that he is who he is for a reason. And I went out there. I put a clinic on for the first round. About 90%. I think if I'd stopped the leg kicks like we'd planned, um, and I'd made a slight adjustment, I think I would have ended up stopping Jeremy. But I beat him over the first round. The second round was more his round, but I still think I won that round. And then the third round, I dominated. Obviously, I switched to wrestling, which I didn't want to do. Probably ended up costing me about 50 Gs, because I think we were at the, if I'd stood up with the third, I think they would have given me the 50K bonus. But like those 2 years that I took away from the UFC, like financially put me in such a hole. And the whole thing was, it's fine, I'll climb my way back out of it. This is what you need to do. And I improved, I learned, I worked on things, and I'm so much better off for it, so much. And just feel like I deserve, like, you know where you should be. You know that you're the level and you're good enough to be there. But I had this thing where I needed to prove that I deserve to be there, and I just think I deserve to be there now. I deserve to be in the UFC, and I think getting this win against Orky is just gonna really cement that I am a 155er and that I am going to be top 15. And this is like Orky's my mountain now. So as soon as I get that summit and I stop Balaji Orky like I plan to do. The next goal for me is 1 or 2 fights, and then either a top 15 or to look like the biggest goal I want to do is I want to be the first Welsh fighter to co-main or to main event a card, a fight night card. Like, I want to make that poster. That is my goal next.
I love it. There's a lot to unpack there. First of all, I know you didn't get your 50 grand bonus, and it sounds like probably would have needed it after the time away. But I think you switching things up in that third round and just reminding people that you can mix it up. Your boxing, mate, your kickboxing, so lovely to watch. Like,
it was
the
clean.
pressure, the shot selection, it really is so easy on the eye. But then your ability, if people should look up your background, we haven't got enough time to cover off all of your credentials, but your judo background and obviously your MMA game, to then switch it up on Jeremy Stephens, who's seen everything in the octagon, and then just show him that you could win there as well. I think that will put a lot of people off. When they go and do their tape study, your future opponents, they're not just dealing with someone that's got really pretty boxing and kickboxing. There's a lot more to it. So I understand the 50 grand would have been good, but actually putting that on file, I think could be quite a clever thing.
I did have quite a lot of DMs for people sending me guides now to finish a Kimura after it. And I was like, just fuck off. Like,
yeah.
But
people,
go on.
Yeah, people don't understand what it's like. Like, you sport jiu-jitsu guys, and I'm one of them. I did start in MMA, and when I go back and do an MMA session, none of that shit works, by the way. And it's very difficult when you've got millions watching and you're getting punched in the face and you've got a lot of money on the line. It's very difficult to make a lot of these things stick.
And in that fight, Jeremy just didn't want to go anywhere. I had that Kimura locked in. I was ripping on it, and he was happy just to lock his hands and wait. My coach was screaming, switch off. And we spoke about it afterwards. He was like, if you switched off, you probably would have finished it. And I was like, yeah, but if I switched off, I would have gone belly down. I would have wrapped the V-triangle legs, and I didn't want him to get out. Whereas when I was on top, he just had no interest in going anyway. He was just happy to sit there and hold because he didn't want to get finished. So it was just like, it's my first one back. It's Jeremy fucking Stephens. It's nice to get a finish, and I'm always looking for it. Like, I was ripping on that arm, but I'm not going belly down and switching the triangle and then re-posturing, then re-attacking the hands, strip it off. And I would have finished. But it was just like, you don't want to do something, switch up, end up on bottom, and then have him pounding on you for the next 2 minutes. I was like, let's just get this win. Let's just secure the bag.
Yeah, exactly that. I can't blame you for that. I've got to ask though, Mason, you've been through a journey in between these stints and this 5-fight win streak. Is it 5-fight win streak? Incredible work. 5. There you go. Sorry, nearly robbed you of one. What did you change specifically? Was it personnel? Was it something else? Give us an insight into what has made this resurgence so prominent.
I think the main thing is we just slowed everything down and we just went back to square one and we just started working on basics again, because it's so hard when you're in fight camp. Because when you're winning fights, you've seen it with Leon. Like your improvement rate is stratospheric. Tom's been the same. Like when you keep winning, you're on a high, and there's just you focusing on what you're improving at the time. You're stripping the fat all the time. You just keep getting better all the time. Whereas like coming back from a loss, which is one of the things that I think seeing what happened with Tom Aspinall's after Blades did his knee, because even though it wasn't a loss, he came out with an injury and it cost him the fight, and it's a loss in his record. But again, I struggle with that because he didn't really lose. He just like it was an accident and his knee went, but it counts. It counts, and to actually improve and to come back after a loss, it's such a hard thing. But for us, we literally broke everything back down. We went back to stage one and we rebuilt everything. We started working from the ground up again, and I generally rebuilt everything. I went back to my striking. I broke everything down. We went back to basics of my kicking. We went back to we completely reformatted my BJJ game. We started altering my wrestling a little bit, and I was going up to Renegade, doing their Monday day wrestling. I kept bumping into Dan Hardy all the time, and Tim and Jai and all used to refer to my wrestling game as counter wrestling because they say you just run all the time, and I used to laugh about it. But for me, it's just I build everything around my striking game, and like I can take people down if I need to take people down. But the main thing is I'm going to put it on you. I'm going to break you, and if I don't, then I have a B game. If my B game's not working, I have a C game. And if my C game isn't working, then we'll run through A, B, and C so fast you won't know where you're going. And I've just sort of been there now. I've done it, and like I've been in like chasing this dream since I was probably about 12, and I've put the hours in. I'm 30 years of age. I'm still getting stronger. My strength's gone through the roof, and everything's just constantly improving. And again, it's all words until Saturday night when I get my hand raised, and a hefty bonus to go with it.
I love it. Warms my heart. I'm really pleased to see this back. We actually ran into one another in Swansea for Paris, and it was lovely to see you, mate. Really good to see this this resurgence and the success again, and you're back where you belong. Let's turn our attentions to this Saturday. I can't wait to be in that arena. This will be the second time that you probably face the booze, though, Mason. Are you ready for the French fans? I know that you guys from Belgium, right? But even so, I think they want any excuse to boo the Brits.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. To be honest, the booze in Des Moines, it was the loudest environment I've ever been in. Like it was crazy. It was, well, I've never had an arena where they've been that loud that I've been able to hear my corner before, ever. And I literally heard nothing. All we could hear was the booing and the screaming, and it was such a pleasure to perform. It was like being back in the Coliseum, and I was the favourite to die. So just to turn it around for me, it was just so much fun, especially against Jeremy Stevens. Like by the time that walk started, it was literally like like the pressure just cascaded off. Like I made that walk, and it was just such a relief, and I enjoyed it so much. And I really just can't wait to do the same in Paris. I just can't wait to go in there and just to carry him out and just to enjoy the dance. And it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. It's going to be explosive, and it's going to be the fight to watch.
All right. Well, you've kind of broken it down in very broad terms there, but you clearly are an analytical guy. I've heard you talk about how you've analysed everyone in the top 15. You have a game plan for them. So clearly you've put attention onto Bolaji Oki for this weekend.
Yeah,
put that analyst hat on for me. Like, what are we looking at? Because I've got my thoughts, but I'd love to hear it from you.
the best example of his style is watch the Chris Duncan fight. When he fought Chris Duncan, obviously Chris Duncan managed to guillotine him, but that fight was a horrific fight for Chris Duncan. Like, you've just seen Chris Duncan, obviously a sharpened, more impressive version of Chris Duncan that was in this fight. He had the fight of the month against
Rumbetsky. Yeah.
Rebetsky's a monster, and Chris Duncan went out there and went toe to toe with him and beat him. Chris Duncan got outstruck in this fight very, very, very one-sidedly. He had no answer for Orki striking. Orki sits his weight over his front leg. He stands quite square. He's fast on his feet. He's very fast with his hands. He likes to come forwards. He's very strong. He's hard to take down. He has a counter wrestling style, the way he sort of sits his weight and the way he puts pressure on people. For me, it is going to be this is going to be a 3-minute fight. The first 3 minutes are going to decide which way this fight goes, and we're going to see which one of us starts going backwards, because it's not going to be me. And he doesn't like going backwards. He doesn't like when people put the pressure on him. And my A game is pressure. I'm literally gonna hit him in so many different ways, and I'm gonna be gone when he throws back. And we've broke him down. We've worked exclusively. We've worked what he's gonna do. We've worked different ways he can work his game. And I'm very, very confident that I'm ready for everything or anything he can throw at me.
Well, I have very similar notes, and this isn't favoritism. This is just from what I've seen. He's very fast, but I've never seen him be pressured that we know that you can pressure. So I'm really pleased that you said about the first 3 minutes and who takes a step back. The other thing that I'm interested on is the fact that he's fought 2 blown up 145ers, and you're a big boy. Is that something that you think is going to be a part of this fight's size, power?
Nah, being stronger and being more athletic isn't going to matter when we get an exchange. I expect him to be slightly faster in the pocket than me, but he swings quite wide, where I like to be down the middle and quite clean. So it is going to be a bit of an exchange, but like I said, I'm going to be in and out, and I'm going to be peppering, and I'm going to be putting pressure on, and I'm going to be walking him into things left, right, and centre, and I'm going to be looking to hurt him early and look to put him out. And you never know. We've worked some sub stuff. I am going to be looking to finish him and to sub him if I can. After that guillotine, I think he's 100% gone back and worked his guillotine defense, because his guillotine defense in that fight was so bad. He did everything wrong. Like, Chris didn't really have that guillotine too deep, and he literally postured, and he's literally like wrapping a rope around your neck and pushing yourself away from the ceiling. Like, posturing up the way he did just made the guillotine so much tighter and put himself to sleep. But again, it shows he's willing to go to sleep. You're a jiu-jitsu guy. You know it's a hard thing to let someone put you out and to just refuse to tap. So he is a kill or be killed guy. And I think, again, like Jeremy, getting the TKO against him is going to be very difficult. But I think I can do it. I think I can TKO him. I think I can sub him. And I think I can beat him. So I'm very excited to see how this fight goes, especially in the first 3 minutes.
We're going to get into the weeds about that guillotine. This is just me geeking out on technique. Did you see that like pretzel grip that Chris used? What do you make of that? I had a look at it with my coach. My shoulders are so bad that I really struggle, especially with gloves, to even employ that grip. But it does create a different sort of compression point.
So obviously Dustin Poirier jumped the gilly. That's the whole thing. He's been training a lot out there, and I think it's come from that gym. I think they work a lot of guillotine series, and they work a lot of it. And the squeeze on that is so weird, the way they're getting it. But they're compacting shoulders and they're crunching down. So the way they're using that grip and the way they're squeezing in and the way they're opening their chest, I just think it just puts that guillotine on very, very dangerously. And I think it's one of them ones where it makes it quite hard to strip the gloves. So when you're trying to get under, it makes it very hard to get a hand on that to get a primary defense sorted. So I think Arky got caught. I think he got caught cold. And I think Chris Duncan is, well, look, how many guillotines has Chris Duncan had now in the UFC? 2, 3?
Yeah.
Kuchenik, Balaji, and I think he's had one more. He's dangerous with him. He's very dangerous. He threw it like a few times against Rebecca, and Rebecca defended well. But Rebecca's got a head like a bull. Rebecca's got a neck so strong.
Yeah.
So I wonder. But Chris Duncan is a nightmare with a guillotine. He is. So yeah, I just think it's something that I added to my list. When you fight Chris Duncan, be careful on the entry and watch the guillotine.
Nice. Did you do this camp 100% at home in Wales?
I did. I've done a little bit in different gyms and a little bit of traveling, nothing major. I've worked with boxers more than anything else for this camp.
Okay.
Down with Gary Lockett and Liam Williams and those boys, getting rounds in there. And I've done my wrestling at home. We had a few boys down. The Figlax, Mike and Matt, come and did some rounds, which was nice. Okay. But it's been good. We've this camp has been it has been fully at home. And I would like to travel for some more sparring, but I just find it, I don't like to travel for sparring when we're about 6 weeks out or 5 weeks out from a fight. I don't like to change stuff because every time you go to a gym, you have that thing of, oh, this prove who's bigger, or this see where he's gone, and they sort of test you a little bit. And I didn't want to be going to someone else's gym, having someone put on me a little bit and end up with a cut or a mark. And I felt prepared. I feel strong. My striking's crisp. My wrestling's been very clean. And yeah, we'll see. I'm very excited. Like I said, Balaji's got a style that's very hard to authentically take down. If you just go for a standard takedown, it's very hard because he's so front loaded. Actually, a friend of mine's a semi-pro rugby player, and he runs the way Occy sits over the front leg. And people struggle to tackle him all the time because his weight is so far front loaded, his chest is so far forwards. I think that means a lot for this fight. We've adjusted a lot of stuff, and yeah, I'm excited. Let's just put it that way.
We started this conversation talking about books. So if you had to put a title on this fight camp, this opportunity for this weekend, what would the title of this book be?
John, you can't put me on the spot like that. I don't know. That's a good one. Title of this book. Let's just call it part 2, because this is part 2 of what's going to be a 5 or 6 part series. I said before the Jeremy fight that there was just no future past Jeremy. And with this fight, I'm big on there's no future past Balaji Occy. There's no point looking at what's next and overlooking him, because every single time someone's done that, then they end up tripping. I said before the Jeremy fight, I was a molehill in his eyes, and he was my mountain, and I was going to take him off at the knees, snap him off at the knees. When he tripped over the molehill, it was me, and he did. Balaji Occy is going to see me as a threat, and he's going to see me as the danger I am. But it's easy to see a shark in the water. It's different when it starts trying to bite you. So we'll see. But I'm happy to get in there, and like I said, 3 minutes. It's going to be the first 3 minutes. So strap in, put your seatbelts on, and yeah, it's going to be exciting.
It will indeed. Mason, thank you very much. You jumped on early to this conversation as well, changing up your schedule. Very much appreciate that. Going to be there in Paris, of course. I can't wait to be on commentary for another one of your fights. But we'll talk during the week. We'll pass in the halls. I'll shake your hand. And yeah, I wish you all the best getting over to Paris.
Yeah, and this is going to be my first finish. This is going to be the one. Everything's come together. So having you on commentary for my first finish is going to be perfect. So I'll see you in Paris. Thanks so much. Thanks for watching.
You're the man. Cheers, Mason. Thank you, mate.